What's up everyone, this is Oscar from Underdog, and today let's make some abstract sounds. Let's make some avant-garde weird stuff. The beauty of electronic music is that the sounds that we create do not have to model how real instruments work. They don't have to model anything that's possible in the physical world. We can get super weird. And today I want to show you one workflow, one way to think about composing a riff, which sort of pulls apart the boundaries of how synthesizers are typically used. So at the heart of what we're going to do today is the understanding that we're creating a riff. A riff is just a series of notes played on an instrument. That's all it is. A series of notes that usually has some kind of rhythm to it and some kind of melodic contour to it. And in electronic music, we might also say it might have an evolving texture over the course of that riff. You could have something go from clean to distorted and vice versa. Basically, changing the timbre is like the secret weapon of electronic music. And today we're going to pull all three of those dimensions apart and design them separately so that we can get playful and get to unexpected results in all three of these domains. If you have any familiarity with modular synthesis, that's something that modular synthesis is amazing at really deconstructing these different dimensions of sound design. So first let's talk about the rhythmic dimension. So at the heart of what we're going to do today is the understanding of what a riff is. And a riff is nothing more than some notes played by an instrument. So for example, a synthesizer could play a riff. That's a riff. It's as simple as that. Let's just start with that. There are three dimensions to this. One is rhythmic. It just goes na 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 na. Then there's the melodic one. Which notes are we playing? And then there's the timbre. How is the sound character evolving? For example, this is something that we excel at in electronic music. The timbre and character of our sound can really evolve even if the notes or the rhythms doesn't particularly change. So to arrive at a riff like this, we can think of these three parameters separately. We can think of a rhythm that works well with the syncopation in our track. We can think of a melodic contour if that's relevant to the genre that you're doing. In techno, often it's not. But this works in all electronic genres, so maybe you want some melody. And then how your timbre evolves, that's super relevant. And that's also something that we can look at. Now, one of the places where you learn this kind of stuff is when you dive deep into modular synthesis, because in modular synthesis, you can really take control of all these separate dimensions and tweak them all separately over time. And so that's why, to do this today, we're going to be using VCV Rack. It's free, it's practical, it's playful. This video is not sponsored. I have no relationship with the VCV people, but let's have some fun with it. So I'll make a MIDI track and put a VCV Rack on there. And with that VCV Rack, I'm going to be sending MIDI notes to my external synthesizer. So I'm basically just using VCV Rack as a complicated MIDI sequence generator in a way. So instantly my template is this. I've got myself basically a clock coming from the DAW, going into a clock manager here, which goes into a sequencer. A sequencer just chooses which steps are on and off. Then it goes into an oscillator and it comes out as audio, all right? So when I hit play, I get something like this, right? It's got a little bit of swing even, all the steps are on. So let me turn off some steps. Nice. So let's do something like this. Okay. Now we've got a rhythm, right? So this was dimension number one, a rhythm. Let's send this rhythm to the synthesizer. So instead of the audio out, what we're going to do is we're going to grab the MIDI out. So this is a little unit that converts the signals from inside VCV Rack into something that the MIDI routing of Ableton will understand. When I hit play now, this is now sending out MIDI signals. But where to? It's hidden, right? So to get those, I'm going to make a new MIDI track over here. I'm going to grab the MIDI from VCV Rack, there, and we're going to select VCV Rack here and set to in. And so as long as you feed this thing a gate and a voltage, it's going to output MIDI notes, which is exciting because on this channel now I can put an external instrument, aka my physical hardware synthesizer, and it's going to listen to whatever I'm programming in VCV Rack. That's crazy. Remember that sound I was playing as an example earlier? It's still playing that. So one thing I can do now is flick through presets here. And immediately start messing around with the timbre. For example, with the mod wheel. Hey, this already feels very loose and alive. I love it. I'm aware of how stupid that sounded, but it's cool. Now we're working with abstract sounds, right? We're flicking through some presets and trying to find, okay, which rhythmic motif is exciting us? And can we shape that timbre over time to breathe some life into it? Nice, right? Now, of course, I didn't really decide which pitch this was playing, so I can still do that. Let me just quickly do that. So that way I can make sure that whatever I'm programming is somewhat compatible with the rest of my composition. So here we go. This is a quantizer. A quantizer just takes whatever voltage it gets and snaps it to the nearest note of a scale that you determine. So, for example, in the composition that I was working on that has these synths already, I know that this is in the scale of C major. So I can just remove all the notes that are not in C major, just stick to that. So now I know that whatever I'm going to program in this little synth riff, it's going to be somehow compatible with that. Let's focus on A. And let's do the low A. Although, actually, I think the first note is a C, so let's focus on the C. Okay, easy peasy. Now remember, a riff might have a melodic contour, and so what does that mean? It just means that our melody might have a shape. So we can just get really creative inside a VCV rack and generate a whole bunch of curves, have those run through the quantizer so they're always going to snap to the grid, and then just get really messy with it. And then once it's really messy, send that out to the synthesizer as well, and then flick through presets to get some really abstract sounds. Then of course later on we can also add some delays and reverbs and stuff to even further push it into abstract territory. Once you start thinking about sound design like this, there is no limit. Like literally it becomes unhinged. You can do pretty much anything. Let me take an LFO. An LFO is just a signal that goes up and down again and again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that into my quantizer instead. And let's see what we get. It's going super fast and it's changing note not on the beat. That's weird. Okay, let's reduce the amplification. I'm not against it. Now let's look for some sweet spots. Okay, I've got something that's a little bit weird, a little bit cool. I think some kind of plucky sound might be nice over this with a bunch of delays. Let's see if I can find something. It's not what I expected, but I like it. This could be a sound bed to start a song with. I'm not against this. Anyway, I'm just searching now, I'm generating material and coming up with ideas. None of these ideas are in themselves super amazing, but the method is super promising. So I'm not here to sell you on any particular sound, I'm here to sell you on a method. Because this is so fun and addictive, I want to spend a few more minutes just searching, and here's a montage of what I found. Ooh, that's nice. This is sick. When you find something that you like, record it as audio, so resample it. Create a new audio track, record the audio so that you don't lose it, because you'll never find this sweet spot of settings ever again. Trust me, I know. And then mess around with it. Play extra notes. Oh, sick. And now I can see some of you, through the magic of the internet, I can see you opening a new tab and looking up the price of an external synthesizer. The good news is that you do not need a synthesizer to have fun with this. You can do the same thing by feeding these notes into a software synth and messing around with the parameters in there. Let me show you. So this external synth, right? I put my Prophet on there. However, I could just delete the heck out of that. Let's put some kind of synth on there. I mean, for example, the Repro 5 is kind of the VST version of the Prophet. And what do we get when we play that? And here also we can, just like before, go into presets. Yeah. Go for percussion, why not? Dope! What a cool sound. With this one, maybe I'll put back in the chords. Or maybe what I just resampled. Anyway. Look at what this is doing. I'm not doing anything. Look, the oscillator, the VCV rack thing, is just doing the equivalent of that the whole time. That's hilarious. Let's turn that off. It's gonna drive us nuts. Anyway, if you do think electronic music could be something for you, maybe go check out my Foundations course. Leave a comment to show me some love and tell my flatmate how nice the little earring is that she made for me. Yes, this is a nail clipper. I think this is incredibly cute. She'll get a kick out of reading that in the comments, so be nice to her. Like the video and subscribe, and I'll see you on the other side. Peace out.